Hi Booktube, it's Roz, the Scully Handling About Books.
And Tilly from Tilly Shelf, and we're back for another discussing drama.
We are. If it's a bit strange and echoey here, it's because we're in a kind of big high-ceilinged apartment in on the outskirts of Naples.
Yes, it's an enormous room with lots of hard surfaces in it.
So sorry about the sound quality.
Odd.
But so this month is Disability Readathon. So we wanted to read a book by a disabled playwright
to fit into that.
With a disability theme to kind of fit with that, because we try and fit our plays, if we can, to
whatever readathon we're most interested in.
Yeah, well, it feels timely and interesting. So we read Peeling by Kaite O'Reilly.
This is the second play that we've read by Kaite O'Reilly. So for the Disability Readathon last year, we read The Almond and the Seahorse, also by Kaite O'Reilly, and both of them can be found in the collection Atypical Plays for Atypical Actors, which is a very good collection of varied plays.
But of the two plays that we've read, this one was
so much better. It was a really phenomenal play.
I really rate this play as a really high quality drama with beautiful writing and like that. The magic combination of ideas and kind of dramatic qualities as a play.
Yeah, and although it works very much on a basic level, it also had a very intelligent level to it as well, in that there's kind of a system of classical mythology references and things going on within it, as well as just the story that's happening.
Yes, so it's quite visceral, it's quite political. It's slightly absurd in a kind of
it reminded me of Happy Days.
Yes,
in a way.
Yeah. So to explain, it's a performance for three women characters who are all actors, and
one of them calls herself an actor, one of them calls herself an actress, and one of them calls herself a performer.
There you go. But I'll say they're all three actors. And they are kind of like extras or the chorus in a production of the Trojan Women, and so the play that we see is them sort of doing their bit parts in this other production of the Trojan Women, and then the bits in between when they're kind of chatting and bickering and
it's the classic play within a play, kind of slightly meta thing.
Yeah, sort of. So, but they're kind of in the background or behind a screen, and in these completely ludicrous, very static costumes that are enormous.
So they're sort of stuck on stage in the meantime, and at times they can't really tell what's going on. Like sometimes they're watching the scenes that's going on, and sometimes they're like, where is everybody? Or why was that interval so short?
And I suppose it's key to the play that all three are disabled actors. So there's like one woman's deaf, and one is in constant pain. And the third is sort of use a powered wheelchair, which is not something you often see on stage. So it's quite.
And it doesn't. O'Reilly, she doesn't define within the play what those disabilities are, because they could be any that broadly fit the dialogue,
But the point is that they are used in this play, The Trojan Women, as almost sort of, all it ticks the equal opportunities box, but they're kept in the background, and they wouldn't get to play Andromache or Hecuba, you know.
And they're saying, I'd love to get this role, I'd love to be cast for this, but not getting forward by them. Getting put forward for it and not getting auditioned for it.
Yeah. So there's an explicit message in the play about sort of disability in the theatre and how
diversity within acting,
and the sort of classic line that I've seen quoted from the play a lot is it's like cripping up is the new blacking up for the 21st century. So that the whole thing about if you do have a major role in a play or a film or whatever that is a disabled character, it'll be
played by an able-bodied character with
acting that blacking
the equivalent. Just thinking about sort of examples of that, I saw a quite good production of Richard III a good few years ago, when the actor had got some kind of like enforced limp applied, but completely able-bodied actor, but spent the whole play with this enforced limp.
It's so dated, isn't it?
Yeah, it shouldn't really be something that we accept
anymore. Anyway, so there's that there, but the play is about a lot of other things as well. It's about women. It's about women in war, which of course is what the Trojan women is about. So it draws on that classical tradition and that play.
Yeah, I found it really interesting how the play The Trojan Women and the bits of their chorus is about sort of the impact on women of war, but for these three actors, it's not. The play that they're part of completely does not represent any of their experiences or experiences of women like them in war. It reflects the experience of able-bodied women in war. Rather than.
There's another kind of key theme in the play is motherhood, I guess, and how their mothers treated them, and
the negative attitudes, I suppose, that they experience from their mothers, at the same time as,
care.
Care and attempts to, I suppose, prepare them for the world in a way.
Some of it well-meaning. Like, so one of them was told, you're going to have to be super alluring because you're like damaged goods, so you've got to really sell yourself. And
one of them was told to be more sexual, I suppose, and one of them was told, oh no, you mustn't have sex because if you have sex then nobody's ever going to want to marry you, kind of thing. So different approaches to that.
One of the and then they are thinking about motherhood for themselves, and I don't know how kind of spoilery we want to be, but they all have kind of their own difficult experiences around whether or not to
take on a role of a
feel that they can be a parent. Will society let them be a parent, and do they themselves feel that it's a safe thing for them to do?
And something that they can cope with.
I love the fact that I thought the playwright O'Reilly, she successfully wrote a play that incorporates using BSL, sign language and audio description and so on, but really kind of like embeds that as part of the drama. It's not a sort of add-on; it's intrinsic to. Brilliantly used.
And at times it kind of adds to the humour and adds to the storytelling. There's one point where it's just like, insulted by audio description, fantastic.
Because they sometimes the characters do audio description to kind of to have a go at each other. They kind of argue quite a lot.
At first I suppose you kind of assume that they're friends, but they're not friends. They're co-workers who've worked together over numerous performances. It feels like constantly pushed into these kind of like sideline roles, and that doesn't mean that they've got a friendly relationship necessarily.
It's like, you're the three disabled women, so
we'll stick you together as mates.
So there's a lot of it, and I feel the way we're describing it as a play, it might sound as if it's a bit unsubtle, whereas actually it's kind of quite multi-layered.
There's a lot of levels to the humour.
Yes, a lot of this humour and sadness, and then the big stuff about war and how like rape's used as a weapon of war. And the production of the Trojan Women that they're part of is a sort of a trendy, updated production that kind of starts with the Trojan War and kind of brings it up to sort of 20th century wars and 20th,
But also how this production that's like trendy and up to date and really feminist also still fails to embrace every kind of, you know, what it means to be any kind of...
sidelines them. They're there as token.
I quite liked the line where one of them's like, because they obviously, like, they each have a different type of impairment, so they don't fully understand each other's experiences either. And one of them's like, oh, well, you know how far it is backstage to get to the smoking area, and the other one is, well, no, I don't, because the theatre place is full of stairs, so I can't get there.
I've never been backstage.
I've never been backstage.
I found one of the key images in the play, which I found quite moving, is about sort of mothers in, and I don't know which kind of war this was referring to, but choosing, rather than let their children be terrified and slaughtered by the army coming in, which they believe they're going to happen, they get them to dance and sing and take them up to a precipice and basically get them to sort of dance off the cliff and fall to their deaths, because that's like a better death than being, I don't know, you know. And it seemed like quite a symbolic image as well as but the implication was perhaps it was something that had really happened in a war somewhere, but I don't know.
I feel like it's a legend that I've heard before, whether or not it is true.
But so yes.
I suppose some of the play is about sort of the difficult decisions that mothers can be forced to take, and that's what adds to the emotion going on through the play. And I suppose what adds to sort of the universal appeal of the play,
because I think it's about difficult choices that women have to make, whether they're, you know, disabled or not.
Whoever you are.
So it's not, you know, it's not sort of just one idea or one message, or, you know, it's quite rich. Not that it would matter if it was in a way, but it's, you know, it's just right. But you also get, you know, there's thoughts in it about genocide. There's thoughts in it about eugenics. There's you know, it's
and a lot of use of sign language as well as the audio description. And one bit that is, there's sections of sign language that are translated for the written edition, that it specifically says, you know, in performance this shouldn't be translated, this should just be sign language. And different ways of telling stories.
And the use of the chorus, because they perform as the chorus in the, so we also
every now and then the floodlights come on and
they're suddenly
hear their actual in role performance,
in role performance,
and so, the costumes that they go through as well,
extraordinary, these big rigid sort of
dresses.
That then, and then at one stage one of them like kind of opens it up and is kind of down the bottom using a blender to make some like gazpacho,
which is, you know, the kind of absurd humour that you've got.
So altogether, a really successful play, I thought.
I'd love to see it.
I would love to see it. But some of the plays that we've read and that we've talked about in our sort of discussing drama videos, we say, well, I bet this would be, I'd appreciate this play more if I could see it performed. It was okay to read. But whereas this, actually, I thought it really worked as something to read as well. I was really entranced reading it.
I think I would love to see it. I would love to see the, I think she called it sign-supported speech. No, sign-supported
English.
SSE,
SSE,
sign-supported English, going alongside it. I would love to see the audio description as audio description instead of reading it. But I enjoyed it.
And I would also love to be the audience, because at one point they do
talk
this
about
bit,
the audience.
looking at the audience.
Look at the audience.
And they start looking at the audience, and you think, that would be a good funny moment in because although it's quite a gritty play, it has a lot of humour as well. So it's very well balanced drama. Well done, Kaite O'Reilly. But no, really, I feel like this is her shows her quality as a playwright.
Yeah.
This play.
Yeah, and I think The Almond and the Seahorse would be a good play.
Yeah.
But it just didn't it didn't capture me as much as this one did.
Yeah. So there we go. That was our April
discussing
drama, and I think we should
wrap up now.
Wrap up now, because we always say we'll try and keep this really succinct, and then we ramble on indefinitely. So we'll
used to ramble. Goodbye.
Bye. See you next month for another play. Which we haven't picked yet, I don't think.
I don't think we picked a play
we
for May.
should be saying.
Has anybody got any suggestions for a play for May?
Tell us what to read in May. Yeah.